is definitely no shortage in the varying degree of opinions that all the hype over just hearing the term narcissist seems to bring about. That doesn't make the price one pays for speaking about it any cheaper. In fear of not being believed, judged, or accused of just tossing around the label, and or that this term should not be used by anyone whose name isn't followed up with the letters PhD. But here is a little fun fact that rarely gets discussed. According to the NIH, patients with personality disorders often had little to no insight in regards to their maladaptive behavior. The collateral information, family, and individuals closest to the patient provide the most significant and paramount insight necessary towards meeting an accurate diagnosis. The NIH feel that this DSM lacks validity and not being scientifically based, and therefore whether somebody is or isn't can't even be diagnosed by somebody with a PhD unless it was for those in direct proximity of the narcissist recognizing their behaviors and providing the insight necessary for them to make diagnosis in the first place. The reality of it is, whether somebody is or isn't doesn't really change a thing, because the life affected by the disorder is not the individual. People that are affected by this disorder are those in the closest proximity to them. Because narcissists know what they do hurts you, but they don't see any problem in their doing it. Because it gives them the validation, whether it be in terms of watching you suffer or you thinking that they are as wonderful as Nelson Mandela and as generous as Santa Claus. It is merely off of their being able to create the reaction by instilling this feeling in you that makes them feel powerful. Not just some disordered personality. It is so much deeper and darker than that. Their personality is disordered in the sense that they don't have one, as their personality changes when these demonic chameleons camouflage into whoever is in front of them, coming off to look remarkably familiar, so they can gain your trust, let down your guard, and get their soul-sucking claws into your psyche. It is not their charisma, their being the life of the party, that leaves one haunted and soul-shattered. No. What you get duped on is the fact that they come off trustworthy, honest, kind, have humility, empathy, compassion, the same outlook on life that you have, to find out in the end that not only did this person repeatedly betray you, but that person that you have been holding on for never exists. That every single word, every conversation was all built off of a foundation of nothing but fraud. Fundamental betrayal doesn't come from their duping you with their personality, but rather what they dupe you on is their character. Narcissists have absolutely no morals. They have a total disregard for others. They don't know the first thing about humility, which in all reality is what leads to a good person. As humility is the realization that you're not perfect and allows one to continue to grow and seek to better themselves and looking for ways to improve. It's the cornerstone for integrity. Whether someone is diagnosed or not doesn't make it any different whether you should stay, and or it doesn't change the outcome or the prognosis of whether or not they're going to get better, because they're not. Because even if it is, in a neurological sense, physically possible for them to change, doesn't mean that they will. Because you can't help anyone who doesn't want to help themselves. And they don't want your help because they don't see what they're doing as being a problem, as they are so self-centered and devoted to these delusions of being more superior, more powerful than anyone else. They do not give one rat's ass about being a decent person. because seeing you suffer, seeing the emotional anguish that they cause you, makes them feel big. It makes them feel good because they had the power to do this to you. It's as if they just pulled off the miracle walking across water. And why, as the saying goes, the truth hurts. With narcissist, doesn't just hurt, it fucking sucks balls. Big balls. And after all that you have endured from them, there's no wonder why anyone would not want to have to face the brutal reality that this truth will bring you. But sugarcoating it does nothing, because everything already was based off of nothing but a foundation of fraud. As much as it hurts, and as hard as it is, get dismissed, criticized, or judged for speaking your truth, it is eventually your truth that will set you free. And there's always going to be a price that you pay. Someone is always going to be offended, have criticism to give, their own opinions about, or not want to go down the same route that you do. And that's okay. They don't have to, just as you don't with them. Sometimes silence is the most powerful statement one can give, but that is not the same thing as making the choice to not say anything because of wanting to avoid the price that comes from speaking up. Because by not speaking in these moments, you can guarantee that not only will you gain nothing from it, but the price that you pay is going to be significantly higher, even if you don't get the bill till later on. And that's not to say that you need to defend yourself or try to explain, reason, or argue with a narcissist, because that truly is futile and only going to get you a whole lot of nowhere. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak up, whether there are some that believe you or not, because even if most don't, there still could be just one other that your story gave validity to, they could resonate with and realize that they truly aren't alone and that somebody gets that. And that right there alone is worth it. Bottom line is evil, and you don't need a diagnosis to see it. Just the tiniest glance into one's character can tell you infinitely more about them than one's personality could in 10 years. And perhaps the reason that this disorder is unlike that of any others, has no cure, is untreatable, because it's not a personality disorder. Rather, it is an inherently evil character who has a complete lack of morals, a total disregard for others' feelings. The type of individuals that you want to fuck around and find out with. They're the type of people that you want to run the fuck away from as fast as possible. And if your gut instinct gets it wrong, well then it is what it is. But it sure as heck beats the alternative, because nothing good comes from staying with one of these monsters. Whether they're your friend, your parent, your partner, or your coworker, they are going to take you down. It's one thing to be honorable and going down with your ship, but there is no honor in staying and letting someone unnecessarily and deliberately try to take you down with them just because they are too much of a coward to fight their own battles and deal with their own shit. Because this is not your fight to fight, and you can't win this battle for them. You can't save them, but you can save yourself. So fight for you. Focus on you.